Probably put part one and part two. Okay, what did you say? Man, everybody come back if you want to. Everyone, peace and the blessings. This is part two of the Well, it started with Kevin, but hey, we planned a lot of plans, and Allah is the best of planners, and I like the direction in which we are going. And Sister Akilah actually just sparked something in my conversation. Thank you guys for trailing along. I think it's already been 1 hour. Boom, here we go. Back.
Wow. I need to find my cool filter again. I think
But what did you say?
About femininity.
In masculinity, though. That just made me realize.
Masculinity is focused on just getting the job done with pretty much like no help, because the masculine is, the man came first. Allah created himself. So there is this mentality of, and Sister Ava talks about this, the man being naturally selfish, because it's like, I am a God and I just need to focus on what it is that I need to focus on and get this done, that done. And sometimes they forget about the woman just because their nature is so lone wolf, sometimes. And so they have to learn balance and all that type of stuff. But yeah, that's a masculine trait, to just do things with no, just by any means necessary, no help. But the feminine surrenders, and the feminine asks for help, and the feminine, but see, when I say ask for help, that's not always verbal. You know what I mean? Your whole essence could be asking for help without having to open your mouth. You don't have to be like, hey, I need help. But notice, the feminine woman don't have to verbally ask all the time. Men literally just go and help. Like, they just run to open the door. They run to go do this for them. They run to go do that for them. So it's not always a verbal, like, oh, I need help. Can you help me? Blah, 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 blah. Like, the real feminine woman don't really have to ask too much for things, because they draw it to them, because their whole demeanor exudes surrender and, a childlikeness, if that makes sense. And so people all rush to help children, right? So it's kind of like, I'm not saying you should act like a child per se, but more so your spirit should be like a child, just like scripture. The Bible says, suffer the little children and come as a child and all that type of stuff. So we as girls, we are Muslim girls, not Muslim women in training. We're Muslim girls in training. A girl needs help. A girl, men always want to do stuff for their daughters. We are Allah's daughters, and the men on this planet are here as, the husbands of his daughters.
Can I'm gonna add, Sister Naomi, or for everyone, the original topic of discussion was Kevin Samuels and how well, I don't know, we were kind of all over the place, but why is it important for women specifically to listen to and get guidance from the correct, men, and why it's important to get knowledge and information from men with the spirit of God and that are backed by the God, because it's just a whole nother level. But now we are talking about
femininity, really.
Femininity and masculinity. But what you said before, it brought up to my attention. I'm like, wow, okay. I literally am battling with these two entities, like, in my life, like in my brain. And I have been for a very long time, because, well, I should say the old me, I really don't like asking people questions. I love figuring things out on my own because I don't like just going up to people, whether it was anxiety, nervousness, whatever it was. I just didn't like asking for help. And so I just always been, I'll figure it out how to do it myself. And, but since last year, I decided to, I went on it, like I said, the journey to femininity. And I thought that I knew it wasn't just clothes, but for me, getting the clothes and stuff was a big step.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't until this year, until I was on my own, where I realized that femininity is just as you said, it's asking questions. And I have the hardest time asking people questions. And it's not just me. I realize there's a lot of women have a very hard time asking for help because that's probably what we saw our mothers do. That's what we saw
Yeah.
our grandmothers do. They do everything themselves. I can say to my grandma, don't like asking for help.
Yeah.
And even my mother is very masculine.
Mm-hmm.
And so I grew up with her as an example.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, subconsciously, I kind of took that on as myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have the teachings and I'm desiring to be feminine. And I noticed the changes in myself. I'm starting to, you know, become more selfless and ask for help when it comes to very difficult tasks.
Mm-hmm.
And,
That's good.
and I'm, well, yeah, it is. Praise be to Allah.
There you go.
But a lot of it comes after and from just praying and submitting to God. And oh man, it's been a long year. I didn't even realize it's been like a year. But what happened at the beginning of this year? Beginning of this year, I was making money, but I was only making enough to, you know, cover my rent because I didn't care. I wanted to be out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
I finally made the money. I said I'll figure out how to pay the bills another way.
Mm-hmm.
I said it's just me and God, and I'm gonna make it happen. I was terrified, not terrified. I was a little scared, but I said, "Hey, I'm gonna make it happen. It's me and God. I have faith in myself. I have faith in the God. We're gonna do this." So I'm here. I did it. Realized that I have to do everything by myself, and did not like that. I did not like having to put dressers together and trying to move them into rooms. This is I'm like, hey, you asked for this. Don't complain.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was not working. Well, I was only making enough to pay the rent. I still have to make money to, you know, pay for the other bills, survive. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I was still like working because in the back of my mind I had, oh, you gotta work, you gotta pay this bill, how you gonna do this? But I never really stressed over a bill.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't allow myself to stress over it because I said, hey, I made a decision. It's me and God, so I'm gonna make it happen.
That's good.
But 3 months in, actually a week after I moved out, my car stopped working, so I was out of a car for 3 months, being on my own.
But then you raised
so
that money.
That's what I was gonna talk about.
Mm-hmm.
That little situationship, just situation, it made me actually ask people for help because I couldn't just jump in the car and go do what I had to do. So that was one step of me coming into,
That was a big step.
asking. Yeah, that was something. But March, I made up in my mind. I said, Allah, I want a car. I'm tired of waiting. And so I made a list of how I was going to get a car, and I was going to make the money in less than a month. And as with everything or anything, you're a little hesitant, you're a little scared. But I said, you know what? It's gonna happen. I'm gonna just do. And this was after the minister's lecture in February, so I was like already on high from that because he said pretty much what I took away was all you got to do is go to the people, and the people will help you. Somewhere along that lines, he said more than that, of course. But I just know that hit me. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do exactly what he said, and I am gonna teach the people. And that was when I started actually sharing the teachings on TikTok, because on TikTok I had a very large following. I just never shared the teachings.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I was afraid. I don't know. TikTok is ruthless. People don't be caring. They just say whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't care. Something went over me, and I just went in my bag as far as like the content. And what happened? Like 2 weeks after I made the vow to make the money for the car, I had the money to make the car. But what was it? I had made a prayer. I can't tell you when this was, but I made a prayer during this month that at the end of my prayers, I asked Allah if I asked him if he can help me make this $5,000 because I've never done nothing like this in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like not the most sincere prayer, but it's just something that I remember because I don't know. I just felt obligated to just ask that at the end. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just asked, and not even 30 minutes later, someone cashed at me $500, like out of nowhere. I didn't have a clue who this person was.
Oh my goodness!
And I was like, "Oh my God!" I was just like, "Praise be to Allah." Like that didn't make absolutely no sense to me. And what really got me is the brother who sent the money. He just said, "God told me to do that."
Wow.
And that right there,
oh my
that
goodness,
was declaration for me that, okay, I ain't got nothing to fear. I can do whatever I put my mind to, and the God got me.
Look,
because
30
that
minutes.
Was not even, it wasn't even 30 minutes.
Oh
I think it was like 15. I prayed, I came back to sit down because I think I had to work or something. But I looked at my phone and it said 500. My heart dropped. I'm like, that can't be right. I can't accept something like that. That don't make no sense. Who just does that to a stranger?
Right.
And he DM'd me and it was like, God told me to do it. And all I could say was all praises to Allah. I wanted to give him the money back because that doesn't make any sense. Who just dropped something like that on someone who you never knew? And that's immediately who I thought of. I just thought of God. I'm like, wow. Thank you, Allah, for working through this person.
Wow.
And after that, I literally made the money for the car in like 2 weeks. And the car, I never really told nobody this, but the car was practically free. When I said I would go to create content or just create pictures to make the money for it, but I only did about 3, so that's only about $300. But for the car, it was practically free. One, because of we got stimulus checks that month. I got mine a little late, so mine came around that time. I got that donation. I got a few other donations, and that's pretty much what covered the car cost.
Yeah.
So I literally just about got that car for free because the money that I made on my side was to cover, the legal paperwork or whatever. So
that's how it works.
And like a week later, I got a promotion at my job or at the job, and it literally, it was the amount of money that I've never seen in my life to where I am financially stable. No, but like I am financially stable. I was able to pay off my Savers Day gift this year.
Yeah.
I was able to do things that I never thought I'd be able to do. Well, I knew I would be able to do it eventually, but when you're just struggling and striving to just make it for so long, you kind of you don't really lose it, but you just kind of like, I always would like hope though. I always knew that it was going to happen eventually. I just never knew when. No idea it was going to be 2020, 2021. But after that whole thing that happened, like I got the car and then like 4 days later, I got the raise. Financially stable, no longer have to stress to pay the bills. That was really like
that's so
click in my brain that God he's real.
Right there with you.
And when you call on him and you just do the right thing, you do what you're supposed to be doing, you ain't gonna never go without. Every single desire that I've had this year, for the most part, as far as like stuff that I had control over, I was able to fulfill. I've traveled.
Sorry, one of the things that my friend Malia reminded me of yesterday was when the minister said, if you focus on becoming a better Muslim, everything around you will improve. And that's exactly what it sounds like. What you did.
Yes.
Like, you start promoting the teachings through TikTok. You started, on your femininity journey, you start cooking more, and then boom, all this financial increase.
Yes, ma'am. And what did you say? Can you repeat?
About the Muslim thing?
Yeah, striving to be a better Muslim.
If you focus on being a better Muslim, everything around you will improve.
Yes, ma'am. And This is why I don't really call my job a job. It's literally my life's work. We focus on self-improvement, self-development every single morning. Like every morning we are listening to someone speaking, whether it's a Christian, a Muslim, sometimes it's a minister, sometimes it's just people who just have positive words to say. We focus on self-development, self-improvement every single day. And so, oh snap.
Thanks, Nazira.
We got sister
Naomi in the building.
Oh,
I
the
feel like
femininity
Well,
master.
Lake of Salam. No master, no master.
You're working on it.
oh my God, I miss you so much.
Girl, I miss y'all too.
We really miss you. With the little baby bean.
Yeah, she's asleep.
Oh, I'm
She
not gonna
is
be
asleep.
then.
I am honored to have you a part of this
Girl,
discussion.
don't do that.
Truly, you are literally one of the voices in the back of my mind, and
Yeah.
all praise be to Allah.
Girl, you have grown so much.
Yes, you
Praise
have.
be to Allah, the God, and shoot, the job. I play a lot of it to ABS.
That's the job you're talking about, ABS.
Yes, I'm a part of the media team, but
Ooh.
because we're like a company, we have morning meetings, and those morning meetings are dedicated towards self-development, self-improvement. So we used to watch, maybe 30, 20 minutes of a sermon or a lecture, and then we have discussion about it, and we hear perspectives from everyone. But lately, we really been getting personal lately, just talking about what have we been talking about? Just stuff that is either going on in our lives or just testimonies. And on Wednesdays we do meditation, which was something I was on like a long time ago, but the fact that we're doing it as a group is kind of motivated me to get back into it, especially with everything that's going on in my life. It's just that's what's really keeping me on the path to self-development and desiring to want to be a better person, because I'm around people who are desiring to be better people.
That's great. So, we were talking about femininity, Sister Naomi.
Oh, I know. That's why I was like, that's the subject. I was gonna. One thing that popped up in my head was, I believe it is in our Make a Lie Sufficient, right, course when we were taking that, and how the minister outlines it very plain and clear that, that the God desires for us as his little girls, pretty much whatever we can conjure up. Right? As long as it's good for us. And when we are not married and we are single, then God is literally our man. And when you go to him, it's like he provides everything. There's not a thing under the sun that he doesn't want to give you, as long as you're, like Sister Akilah said, we're striving to be right and we're striving to be a better Muslim, right? Then he will give it to us. And one thing that pops up in my head is, God when he created himself, nothing else was created, right? His first creation was woman. So I think of it in terms of the sun, the planets, the animals, everything, right? He provided what was needed for her. So what makes us think that he would not provide it for us? And we're essence of that prototype. We are literally the expression of him in the feminine. We are his expression, just the feminine side. And he didn't need the woman, right? He wanted the woman. So when you want something, why wouldn't you provide everything that it needs?
That's true.
And she was in total and complete submission to him. To him. So everything that she wanted, more than likely, it was like abracadabra. You got it, right?
Wow.
This is a PSA to really the world, that if we really focus on the God and self-improvement, you can get anything you desire. Like that's the best. Like that's literally the best advertisement. Like,
Yeah.
if you really want, but it's funny because it's an advertisement, but and we hear people say that, we hear the minister say that, we hear all these, people who we admire say it, but because we're in a world that distracts us and makes us think, well, you have to do this in order to be successful, or no, you need to do this in order to get all the things you desire, no, you got to do this, and so we start doing other stuff trying to get the results of what we really will be getting if we just submit to Allah and focus and like focus on him, making him our exclusive object and our self-improvement. Because if we're making him our exclusive object, he is going to, like I was telling her earlier, he's going to evolve us into eventual perfection, because all of the defects that we have, all of the craziness that we have, he's going to help us to smooth it out. He's going to help us to like correct it so that we can be our best selves and be happy. He wants us to be happy.
Yep.
He wants us to be happy.
And what is success without Allah?
Ooh.
There is
nothing. It's just something you have.
It's not true happiness. It's not, because you got billionaires committed suicide.
Yeah.
So that's not what's going to make you happy.
Wow.
And you got billionaires divorcing. What's his name? Jeff Bezos or whatever. He just got divorced. Bill Gates. Bill Gates just got a divorce. Like all these rich people, all these rich men. So men have to understand too that money ain't gonna make you automatically successful. What is true, like you said, what is true success without Allah? Y'all really
it doesn't exist. Success outside of Allah doesn't exist, because everything is according to his will. It's of course he has the active and permissive will. We make choices and we make decisions, but ultimately everything is to work out for his behalf. It's not the other way around. And when you really think about, people say, well, I got to get connected to this person to be successful. That person wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the God, if it wasn't for Allah. So you still got to connect back to the God. And when you put all your eggs in a basket into a person and make a person a God besides God, then that's where your success has an end point. Because when that person falls, you fall as well, especially if they're not connected to him. But when you connect directly to him and you allow him to guide you to and into partnerships and relationships with the people that are going to grow you, the people that are going to test you, the people that are going to try you, like they say the law of proximity, being in a certain proximity to certain people guides you in a certain type of way. I have as far as talking to another sister, and I told her, I said, this year is the year of meaningful relationships. I don't want to be connected to nobody that doesn't genuinely like, love, and care for me as in who God has made me to be. I don't desire it. And I only desire those who are connected to him. And I'm not just saying Muslims, because he said friendships in all walks of life, but even Christians, even, if somebody who's a Jew, it doesn't matter what your religion is are you connected to the source? And how is he guiding you, which can then in turn guide me or grow me or give, help me along the way. And this year is the year of more meaningful relationships. And I must say, look, I call Sister Akilah all the time when she drop a new video, and I know she be dying laughing. I be screaming in the phone.
She be screaming. It's hilarious.
Be like, you better drop that song. You better drop that song, girl. Because when you genuinely care about people, and you can see God in them. Like, so we know when we're looking at each other, we looking at God, right? And if I see God in you, then I want you to be the best version of you that you could possibly ever be. And that is by accepting your own and being yourself and being connected to the God and growing. Like, even you, Sister Noor, you have grown so much. I like at Sister Noor, her little video.
That's the God, man. I don't know where we coming from. That's all I can only say is God. Everyone's feeding into me, and I'll just be listening and I guess now it's time to just start pouring out because um,
And
It
that's
is. Imagine,
a lot of information.
have you ever thought, Sister Nora, imagine if you never got out your comfort zone
mm,
and you didn't do the videos that you're doing, you would not reach the people that you were designed to reach. Nobody
Yes,
else is
ma'am.
supposed to reach these people, just you.
that's right.
Just
Mm-hmm.
you. Same thing with Sister Akilah. Nobody's supposed to reach certain people except Sister Akilah. Her voice is what is going to unlock them. The God in her, right? The
Mm,
God in you, the God in me, right? Once we get connected with the law how we're supposed to, then when we open our mouth, we become his mouthpiece and we touch his people the way in which we're supposed to touch them. That's
mm,
Mm. And
it's your
see,
voice.
I I decided not to go to college like my peers when I graduated when I was 18. And one, because I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life.
mm-hmm.
Confused. Nothing made sense. Nothing was really connecting. And looking back, those 4 years that I didn't spend in college were 4 years that I spent really getting to know God, like
Mm,
really understanding Him and understanding Master Prophet Muhammad,
mm-hmm.
establishing a relationship with my family. I wasn't even friends with my family growing up, but I can honestly say now that my family is my are my friends.
Oh,
Um, Growing to understand what it means um, to be a woman. I'm still learning because
right.
a
We
lot.
always learning.
Yeah.
Um, what else? But being an adult, being independent, but at the same time knowing that this independence isn't going to be forever. Um, but what's the main thing? But the main thing was really just growing and establishing and securing a relationship with the God.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing so, people gonna say what they gonna say. You should have went to college. What are you doing with your life? You ain't got no job, whatever. But this year, I am. If I would have went to college, I probably wouldn't be here now. So,
That's true.
um, and not only just that, the fact that I went through the self development, my
Mm-hmm.
mind is far beyond a lot of the people at my age, which is sometimes I
Oh,
have a hard
yeah.
time discussing or talking with them because I'm just so past all of everything that I went through because I didn't went through it, I didn't felt it, I didn't accept it for what it was and moved on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but all going through all of that, I'm saying also to say that is what God qualified me pretty
Mm-hmm.
much.
Mm.
Not no college, not no degree. I got a degree in life.
That's
And
right.
it's not even a complete degree. I just got my first 4 years in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and not only with my job, I'm literally making um what some people would make, what my parents would make,
Mm.
just because I decided to do something that I don't know, it felt right. Just
Mm.
creating content for people, making people laugh, just being on social media. I didn't really understand it, but
Mm-hmm.
I just know that eventually it all makes sense. So I just kept doing it. And it wasn't until last year, the beginning of this year, that literally every single thing that I've done for the last 4 years all makes sense. Like
Mm.
my why. And it's all because I just, I don't know, it was just me and God. I just did what I was supposed to do. And here I am, becoming, the beginning stages of becoming. I am not her, but I am becoming.
Not
But
understanding the why. It's such a, you said God qualified you.
Mm.
That
That's
I
no
love.
degree.
I look, I don't have a degree either. I
I
went to
don't want one.
school, I switched colleges. I say, oh, I'm gonna do bio pre-med over here. But it seemed like every time I got like right up to the point where I would actually be in my science school, in the school of science, something took me right on out, right? And I didn't
Mm-hmm.
understand it then. And at one point I thought I was a failure.
Mm,
And it wasn't until some, like now, right? I'm understanding that God was qualifying me in a very different way.
mm,
So, I want to be a midwife. I want to be I want to help women. And now he's qualified me to be a spiritual midwife. You know what I'm
mm,
saying?
Mm.
Helping birth women, helping birth
ooh,
babies, really, because essentially, when we clean up the woman and fix the woman, we fix
have the baby.
everything else,
Yep.
right? Because we birth children, and like you said, through your life experiences, he qualified you. And
Mm,
Yep.
sometimes when we're in the midst of it, we really don't understand. People
mm,
don't understand because they're in Closing the Gap, the minister talks about transition. And when
Mm-hmm.
you're in the state of transition, that's the most dangerous space because you're not where you were and you're not where you're supposed to be, right? So
yeah.
sometimes family, friends, whoever it is, they sit back and they watch us go through our journey and they think that they have the answer, but it's like, you aren't my creator or my God.
Mm,
Mm.
You and even parents, you birthed me, but you did not create my purpose in which I was birthed. You
mm-hmm,
wasn't.
Mm.
So you have to
mm,
allow people to walk their own path, right? Take the licks that they need to take because we all get them in life. And then when we get on the other side, it's like, wow, that's
mm-hmm,
why Allah sent me through that thing. Wow. That's
Yep.
why he kept on, saying, skirt, pop right, stop
Mm.
yeah,
right there. Like,
right.
you're not going to pass go and collect $200 because this is not why I created you.
Mm,
And
Mm.
I think when you fully take yourself and completely give yourself over to Allah, surrender. Not
surrender.
okay. So I'm finna say this. So there's submit and there is
Surrender.
surrender.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
You can come up under submission by force,
Right.
right? But when you surrender, it's because you made the choice.
That's by choice.
It's
Exactly.
yes, you stood fully and totally in free will in your choice and said, I surrender. You know what I'm saying? I'm handing
Mm.
over everything to you. And I'm gonna be honest, it wasn't until 2019 where
Mm-hmm.
I went and prayed and meditated. And in my prayer, I literally I say, Allah who came in the person of Master Father Muhammad.
That's the one.
I surrender.
Man.
I'm giving it all over to you
Mm,
because clearly I don't know what I'm doing. And I keep on
literally.
making mistakes and
Mm-hmm.
you keep on sideswiping me. So
Mm,
at this point, I'm not going to just submit. I'm going to surrender. I am making the
Mm.
choice to fully, totally, and wholly give myself over to you and let you guide me how you see fit. And
mm,
I'm telling you, it's one of the most scariest but beautiful rides ever in my life
mm,
because from that moment on, I feel like he's always dropped stuff on me,
mm-hmm.
but there's a difference between getting stuff dropped on you, meaning coming from a different person, somebody say something that maybe you prayed about, and him dropping something in you.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that because you know how the minister talks of, and I just got chills.
Mm-hmm.
You know how
Write
the
that down.
minister talks about he made me all up
Himself.
into himself, right? Like
Mm,
your mind becomes so aligned with the God's mind that it is just in you and you
Mm.
have made yourself um receptive. And that's
mm-hmm.
a beautiful thing about the woman. The feminine is receptive. Our
Yep.
anatomy is receptive. We don't penetrate anything.
That's
We are
right.
to be receptive to the things that come to us.
Yep.
And when I finally surrendered, it's like he would drop stuff in me. And when I
Mm-hmm.
say in me, it's like
Mm.
I could be sitting in a room and it ain't nobody up in there but me in the air and whatever is in the room. And then a
Not
message
the
drop
air.
in me. Like something literally just drops in me. And it's
Mm,
like,
Wow.
what am I supposed to do with that? Or
Right.
or you clearly hear his voice, right?
Right.
And he's directing you to do something, but it's because you have made yourself receptive to him and you have surrendered and you allow him to be in you. Let this mind be in you. It's like surrendering your mind totally to him. And it's when you do that, you have to get your ego out the way. You got to get out of not wanting to be wrong, and you just have to let him pour in you. And you will be surprised how much oh my God, how much he manifests. I'm trying to think of the word for it. How much he manifests in you and show to other people that he's actually in you. And it's like you, Sister Nora, when you've told me before, I don't know what it is about you, but when you talk, it's like I have to stop everything.
Yep, I gotta
and
listen to every single word, every single
and
one.
listen. And more than one person has said that to me. And I'm really starting to understand now that when he drops it in me, my duty is only to deliver the clear message, and that's it. And get out of my own way, get out of my head, all of that, because I told him that I surrender. And so in surrendering, that means that he's going to use me. And I just have to be open to him use me however he sees fit. And it ain't always nice, the messages he give me, but but I've just learned I have learned and I am still learning to be okay with that. And when you all were talking earlier about help, I'm gonna tell you, when you and see, Sister Akilah is married, and you're gonna be married one day, Sister
Yes,
Nora.
ma'am. You sure
That's
will.
right.
But it's something when you're married and you see the God all up in your husband.
Yeah.
And your ego comes up sometimes as a woman when we've been so conditioned in this world that men don't know nothing about no women and men can't tell us nothing. And and men don't know like we know, and they ain't as intuitive as we are. And I really had to kill my ego completely, because my husband be knowing stuff ahead of time, and he be like, babe, so this just dropped in, or babe, let me bring this to your attention. Or he sees something as the head, right? Because the head goes before any other part of the body. He sees something as the head that I may not understand, because I can only see it from the fact that I'm feminine, and he sees it from the masculine. I can't ever, our minds will never be able to think and function like a man, because we are not men and we are not the masculine expression of a lie. We can only see it the feminine way. But when you have a man that, despite their flaws, they are guided by God, right? And God is the head, then you just follow. And even when you don't want to, and you don't want to necessarily listen to what they have to say, because we sometimes think we know better, because, I'm an independent woman and women is smart and all this other kind of foolishness. You have to really, and look, husband just stepped in the room. But you have to really learn how to kill your ego and completely sink fully and totally in the feminine essence of God, which is you. It doesn't exist outside of you. It is who you are at your core, and allow that man to drop in what he needs to drop into you. And it's like an impregnation. You're getting impregnated with something, but it's not physical, right? So when you said the brother sent you the money for your car, right? You was like, I can't take this, right? But that is what the masculine does. He provides. It didn't say
Actual
that the
fact.
masculine just provides for the sister he is married to. When a
That's
random
right.
stranger, which is a man, opens your door, right? When you're going into the grocery store, or lifts something for you that's heavy, that is the God in that man showing up, because he's functioning in his nature, right? His nature is to provide. His nature is to cover. His nature is to protect. Like, we have to get out of, and I know we're conditioned in this world that there aren't any good men, and that if a man is doing something for you, then he wants something from you. But it is not that. You even see old men when you're in the store. If you're trying to get something, guess what? The old men step in and they get it for you. If there's something in the store that I can't reach, I don't even have to say it. But sometimes if there's a man on the aisle, he'd be like, oh, can I get that for you? Absolutely. Do I want my door open? Absolutely. Do I want a man to pick up something? Absolutely.
You like, say, hell yeah.
Yeah, allow that man to be a man. Allow the masculine to show up for you as the feminine, and they do not have to be your husband, man. They could be a total stranger. Allow them when when it presents itself to show up for you and do for you, because that is the nature in which the masculine functions. I think we sometimes get caught up in titles and, I don't know them and I shouldn't allow them to do that for me. But girl, the masculine, the man, real men will show up.
That's true.
If you allow it. If we as women don't kill it in
you have
them.
to allow. That's another word that's feminine. Allow.
Yes. Allow.
Ask, allow.
Ask. They're there to help.
Yeah.
It is part of our nature to, and people say, I don't need no man to take care of me.
Yes,
I'm sorry, but the way that the God set it up when he created the universe, you do need a man.
Absolutely.
You need one.
Wow.
Everyone needs one. That is what he was created to do what he do. And we're created to do what we do. And so when people say, I don't need no man to provide for me, I'm sorry, but a real women who are feminine, who are not functioning off of trauma, who are not functioning off of their, bad emotions and bad situations that have happened to them, they do not mind being provided for. Because I love my husband pay the bills. I love when he get the dough. I love when he helps me. I love it in every way. And I'm learning to love it even more, because sometimes he will see things that I don't necessarily see, or I haven't voiced. And my husband will literally come and just do it for me. Like today. I walked outside and my band was gone, right? All the car seats is in the living room. And I'm like, where is my band? I called my husband. He say, oh yeah, because I was asleep when he left, because baby had me up all night. And he was like, yeah, I took it to go get this looked out, that taken care of, this taken care of. Like, I would be crazy to, some women would have went off where you ain't asked to take my car and you took all my stuff out the car and blah, blah, blah.
Can you imagine?
But we do that though.
I know.
We
do that. We do that. We will let, this man is trying to help you and you literally hollering and cussing out your help. Because you didn't see it as help, because you are not functioning in your nature and in the energy and the essence in which you was created. You're not. You are not. You don't see the lionesses telling the man lion, not to kill something that's finna kill their pride.
Right.
They get they behind back, even though it be like a 10 of them, and it be one of him. They step back. They let that man lion, they let that lion be a lion. So we have to learn how to allow our men to be men. And we have to be, as women, we have to get in our nature and understand that it does not make us less.
Right.
When you function in your nature, it doesn't make you less. Minister Ava said in, what is it? Not real
superpower.
Naturally beautiful. She said, just because we were made second does not mean that we were less. Somebody asked what you making, Sister Akilah.
I'm making the sides for I made some broccoli and spinach quiche, and now I need to make some sides. I'm making some rice, and I need to make Nailani some carrots. So that's some carrots for her.
Yeah, because they asked like twice, and I know you ain't seen it, so. But she said that 1 + 1, that being second doesn't make us less, because 1 + 1 makes 2. You can't get to 2 unless you got one and you got the other one. So being feminine really is our superpower. Think about it. How beautiful is it that Allah the originator who created himself out of triple darkness and the womb of space, right? That he would give us as women that same thing. Now, you can't tell me that that ain't love.
That's true.
That he made us before the sun.
Yeah.
You cannot tell us that that is not love from a man. Men, when they are functioning in and there's no such thing as because I have to say this, there is no such thing as toxic masculinity.
Ooh, break that down.
There's no
That's
such
interesting.
thing as. Ooh, can you explain
There is
that?
no
Only
such
look,
thing
it's
as
only
toxic masculinity, because masculinity is masculinity. It is not toxic.
T.
Now, things that function outside of that, then that is what it is, but it ain't masculinity.
Good point.
The essence and its nature, that's not masculinity. So it's not toxic. And we have to stop. But the narrative, the minister said one time in a lecture, he was like that things can be repeated so much that people start to believe that it is true.
Wow.
And so that narrative, toxic masculinity, toxic. So you start hearing the word so much that you actually believe that that's a thing and that is true. And it is not. It holds no weight, because Allah did not make masculinity toxic. He ain't toxic. That's his nature. He's not toxic. So how can masculinity be toxic? We have to, I'm telling you, it's a full out war on the man and the woman and assault of the family. And we don't realize that that's the basis for everything. And so when we fix ourselves individually and function in the essence in which we were created, then we can come together and make real families, wholesome families, good families, strong families, which then build strong nations. You know what I'm saying? Like nothing extends outside of that family foundation. Nothing. There's a full-on war, like Sister Halima said, a full-on war against family. And it starts by attacking the two essences, feminine and masculine, and making them quarrel with each other when they were made to complement one another. Literally.
You gonna love my music video.
Girl, I can't wait. Look, you put that little snippet on there. I say this helpful and put this snippet on there. And she ain't put the whole thing.
Just a snippet. Just a little taste.
Look, you're gonna love that music video because it basically has elements of what you just said. And you'll see when you see it, you'll see what I'm talking about. It has the elements of what you just said, because it's so imperative that we lift up family in whatever way we can. Black family. Because they, like you said, they're trying to tear us down.
Yep. Not just black family, but every family, if we being completely and totally honest.
That's a good point.
Because the minister said that his message is for all of humanity. He start with us first, but it's for all of humanity.
That's
like the attacks on family have never been so big like it is, but we are coming up to the end. And you know something I thought about that we always heard as growing up in the nation as children, right? That the last trick was going to be the last trick of the devil was going to be his woman. Right? Now, I know most of us who are nation babies, we believe that that means the white woman.
Right.
But I'm going to say this because I was studying one day and then it hit me. I say the devil's woman is not necessarily the Caucasian woman.
Right.
The devil's woman is that woman who thinks that she's independent, who's tearing down the structure of family, who's completely against the masculine. And the devil has you believing that you're equal to and supposed to do everything that a man is supposed to do. That is the last trick of the devil. Because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that we will be letting him in our house through the TV, right?
Right.
Who'll be at home eating bonbons, sitting on the sofa, doing all this and let your children watch all kind of foolishness and creating little devils and little monsters for this world? You know what I'm saying? To go out there and terrorize. It's the woman. So I oftentimes ask myself, what kind of woman am I? Am I Allah's woman or am I the devil's woman? Because sometimes we can be the devil's woman, and we're the last trick. The minister say that a woman has the ability to bring either the God or the dog out of a man, and that is the absolute truth. So what kind of woman am I, and where is my mind? And am I the last trick of the devil? I don't want to be the devil's woman.
I don't want to be the devil's trick.
Wow. I never even thought that.
Because in Closing the Gap, he talks about devil not being a color. There's a devil. The devils can be any color.
All of us.
So why can't the devil's woman be any color?
Yep.
That part.
Entertaining it.
That part.
Yep. Yep.
That part.
Yep. 100%.
We change, and everything that comes from our womb is an answer to a prayer. But just like you can birth a prayer into the world, you can birth a little old devil up in here, depending on what you fed on and what you thought about and the blueprint that you put on your child's mind.
That's true. Yep.
You could literally be birthing a little devil.
And all we can do is ask Allah for his intervention.
His covering.
His covering, intervention in our affairs, because only he can intervene and change the trajectory of what you might have started, you know?
Yep. And I know I sound like an encyclopedia, but in How to Give Birth to a God, the minister said that despite what we go through while we are carrying children, hello.
I was very surprised that y'all let me in here, but I wanted to say, Miss Akilah Nehanda, when I was like, I think I turned 10 or 12. I had got on stage with you to sing Bar So Sweet. It was like a Hershey
Bar.
Hershey. I sung that on stage with you, and I remember that was like my birthday present from my mom. So I wanted to tell you that. Thank you so much for that. Like, that was really cool. So I think that you're like super cool. Like, I was like, you're super inspirational. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're like, she's so cool. So
Thank you. This was a surprise.
Yeah. My sister was like, "You really gonna get on stage?" I was like, "Yeah." I'm 16 now. You know, I'm a junior. I'm a junior now. So that was a long time ago, like the 4th grade. But I never forgot that. That was something that always stayed on my mind. So yeah, like, you're really inspirational. You're really cool.
Praise God. That you really you brightened me up. You brightened me up a little bit. I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
So thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Praise be to Allah.
All right.
Thank you.
Oh, that was beautiful.
That was beautiful. Good seeing you again.
That was so beautiful.
That was.
Never know who you gonna impact, man.
I know.
Right. You never know. You were in the middle saying something, Sister Naomi.
In How to Give Birth to a God, the minister said that despite, as women, because there's always hope, he said despite what we're going through, and if we've done things wrong or if our setup is not right when we're pregnant, he said pray to Allah, because he has the ability to cover us despite what our parents are doing in the womb. And when you think of it, with the minister and his birth circumstances, that was nothing but Allah that covered him.
That's true.
While he was, in the womb, so that he can be who he is. But it all goes into impact. Look at that. Look how you impact this.
Praise be to Allah. That was awesome. I'm like, praise be to Allah. Like you said, you never know. You can just be doing your own thing, and then it shows you that if you, and we talked about degrees earlier. I have a degree, but look, we all on the same call, and I'm learning just as much from y'all as you learn from me. So a degree in this white man's society really is nothing, will never be anything compared to the degree that Allah gives us. And whenever we're focused on him, he leads us to do things, and it impacts other people. It impacts people we never will meet. We will never meet all of the people who we have impacted. We just won't.
Yep.
So
it's so
think
crazy.
about the minister, all the people the minister has impacted.
And you know what? The minister impacts so many because he also impacts them through us. Because our voice, some people may not ever listen to him.
Right.
Yep.
Because they're going to say, he's an old man, I ain't trying to hear him, right? But the way that you express Islam through you, The way that Islam expressed through you, Sister Anur, the way that Islam expresses through Brother Ben, right? You might be that vessel in your expression of Islam that might call somebody and introduce them to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, because otherwise they would never, you know what I'm saying, never ever watch anything that he says, or your wording and your language, right? So you do yours through Sister Nora. You express Islam through like your comedy, right? I ain't that funny. I can't do like you do, right? Sister Akilah does it through music, right? And then the way that I express Islam is very different, right? So our expression may be just what that person needs. Only your expression would be able to get them in contact and in connection with Allah. And I'm not just saying that for people coming to the nation. You might be the first time that somebody even looking at your life and the way that your life played out, and them watching us online, you might be the one who sparks back in someone that God actually does exist and care about them.
Yes.
It's not always about titles.
That's right.
It's not always about the set that we claim. Because being in the ABS tribe and being one of the women coaches within the tribe, there are so many sisters, some who don't even believe in God. But they will come to me and say, I don't know, but I was led to you, and I feel like the divine or the universe sent me to you, and so I'm coming to you, right? And it doesn't matter that I'm Muslim. It does not matter that I'm a follower of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. The whole point is that they saw the creator in me. They saw the divine, whatever they call it. They saw it in me. And so they were driven to me. So then whatever word I have to give them, then they take that in their lives, then transform. So each one of us has a different voice, and we all have the same calling, which is the resurrection of people.
Right.
Just a very different way in which we do that. By being uniquely ourselves.
Right.
Accept your own and
And
be
be
yourself. My motto. My life's motto.
And be yourself. And I want to ask y'all this. Coming up, because we're nation babies, right? Coming up, did y'all struggle with that? Like, struggle with being born in a nation, but trying to find yourself, like the accept your own and be yourself? Did y'all struggle with that? Because, we have this is what a MGT is supposed to look like. This is how she moves. This is what she do, right? And this is the expression of an MGT, but your expression didn't fit that.
Well, yeah. That I struggled with that once I got married, because my husband is not a registered member of the Nation of Islam. So I struggled with the expectations, and the MGT is supposed to marry FOI. MGT is supposed to do this, and MGT is supposed to do that. So I struggled with where do I fit now? Where do I fit now? Because I didn't go down the road that all the other MGT, there's some MGTs who are not married to registered members, but the ones who I know are the ones who raised me, you know what I mean? And so you have to grapple with that and then say, well, my road clearly is different. I have a different journey, although I'm still a Muslim girl in training. That's what an MGT stands for, to answer the question. But even though I'm a registered member of the Nation of Islam, would you guys have something to say, Nur?
There's a minute left.
Yes. I figured.
But this is getting good. I don't know. If y'all want to stay, I'll go again. I do not care.
You want us to jump back on?
I love information. Yeah, we can, because
I think my husband and child, they're probably on their way back. But we can jump on. I might have to jump off on the third one.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. But
I'll jump back on.
Okay.
Okay.
Everybody come back.
We'll come back.